I can't say any more without giving much of it away, but I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed at that book. I never remember what happens in books anyways.
She really pulls you in, like you feel what the character is feeling. I don't know what magic she has going through her blood. What do people say? The goat? The goat! The greatest of all time. It's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna.
Welcome to Another Chapter podcast with your hosts, Claire and Rebecca.
Welcome to Season 4, Chapter 1 of Another Chapter, the podcast. We are back, Claire, and in person.
Yeah, mildly terrifying. We're back.
So if you are hearing this, you may not, or you might be able to hear the difference. I don't know, but we decided to take the leap into in-person recording this year. If you're watching video, that will be pretty obvious because we are clearly in a room together. It's not.
Which is very strange.
I know.
To be fair, we're never in the same room.
Yeah. Despite all the chatting and the WhatsApps and the voice notes and stuff, it's actually rare we're in person together, which is a sad thought. A sad thought, Claire.
It is, but it is what it is, and we made the best of what we had when we had it. So I think we did good.
Yeah. So the plan for this season is that we're going to try and meet. Well, we are going to meet every second week to record, and an episode is going to come out every 2 weeks, again along with the school schedule. Yes. So you will have a chatty episode probably the second week of every month, and then the fourth week would be interview. Yes. With a range of fabulous guests. Yes. So, and the chatty ones then, we've kind of decided, even though people in fairness are always very nice and say they really enjoy us chatting about books in general, and that it's like sitting in a room with two friends, you know, just hearing us talking about books, we've decided to like really focus, and each episode is going to have a very specific kind of topic or a theme. You know, the hot topics we've always been talking about.
Yes. And we're going to combine the chatty episode with the read-along as well, because we were very good at doing the read-alongs, but we weren't very good at recording episodes about the read-alongs. So that is the plan going forward, and yeah, hopefully it'll work. I think it will. Yeah. A lot of thought had gone into this.
I know. And I suppose just like, as we've said in our stories and stuff, like life is really busy for the two of us. Mm-hmm. It's not, we don't have lots of spare time to be doing this. And like, but this is very much a passion project for both of us. We are 3 years in now, or a lot of 3 years in, fourth season. Yeah. And we could, like at any point we could have gone, look, life is too busy. It's really hard to get together and do this, but this was something we were determined, you know, to keep going. Yeah, because we both love doing it.
And it's something that brings a lot of like happiness and joy, and
and I think actually that was something we kept coming back to about books. Excuse me, making us feel good, sorry, I just hit the mic there. Making us feel good, and how books are so beneficial in general, and we think we always felt there needed to be more discussion about books, and that was ultimately what this podcast is about. Space for us to be chatting, but also for other people to hear about books, maybe get involved in the discussions themselves, to read more books, to be inspired to read more books, and yeah,
absolutely. So if you are not on Instagram, we have set up a WhatsApp community for read-alongs and for book recommendations and stuff. So how would you even find that if you're not on Instagram?
That's a good point. We'll have it on our website, I suppose, anotherchapterpodcast.ie, and if you happen to see a poster, if you're kind of relatively local to either of us, if you're in Leaf and Bower maybe, we will have updated posters with that on it as well. But you can find us, and it might be even that people are on Instagram just might not be very into chatting on Instagram, you know, that they mightn't be too interested in having group conversations on there, whereas it might be easier to do it on WhatsApp. Yeah. So that's the plan. So what was today's topic, Claire? Things were back. We wanted to pick something we both felt we could talk about pretty easily.
Yes. So today we decided, because of the passion that's behind books and because we enjoy it so much, And because of the emotions that they can evoke, we started to kind of delve a bit deeper into books that kind of wrecked us and then books that heal us or put us back together and make us feel happy and stuff, because there's something about reading a book when you are just so into it and you are trapped in the world nearly, like whether it's fiction, whether it's like fantasy, whatever it is, you just get pulled in with a good book. You get sucked into it and you just feel. And I think that that is such an amazing part of being human, is that ability to feel compassion and empathy. And so we put a question box out on Instagram there recently, asking people what books broke them and what books healed them. So yeah, we got some lovely suggestions. Some books I haven't read at all, but
same actually. And there was a few that as soon as I saw them I went, oh my god, that book. 100% agree that it was just one of those ones that immediately tears kind of, come to mind.
Books that have come up, that have been suggested, I'm going to go and look at one or two that I found very emotional and evocative, and some other ones then that are here I have not read, but apparently are very good. So I am going to get started with the, what do people say, the goat? The goat, the greatest of all time. It's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna.
I was looking at it like, that's not what that book is called. Yeah.
I actually saw a very funny interview where Jennifer Lawrence was talking about Meryl Streep, and she said that Meryl Streep just thought that everyone was calling her a goat, and she wasn't receiving it very well until they broke it down and said it means the greatest of all time, and then she got on board with it. So that's why I am referring to The Nightingale as the goat for me, because this book, I saw this book everywhere. People were reading it. It's going to break you. Like, your heart is going to be broken. You will not be able to stop crying. And I read it and oh my God, it broke my heart. This woman can write.
Okay, I've read nothing by her. Again, I'm so aware of it. I quite possibly have that on a shelf at home.
Okay.
I have not read it. But it's one of those ones that I'm just well aware of, but I haven't actually picked it up for whatever reason.
Read it. It is excellent. I'd read The Women and I really, really loved that. I thought that like her ability to tell a story was brilliant. She really pulls you in. Like, you feel what the character is feeling. I don't know what magic she has going through her blood, but yes. And then this one, I was going, oh, would it be as good as The Women? It is so much better even. Oh, wow. They're very different stories. So The Women is about the war in Vietnam, and The Nightingale is about World War II, and it's about people trying to escape during World War II. And there are two sisters, Vivian and Isabel, and they kind of, it's not like they don't really get on, but they kind of don't get on. And one of them is like facing the war head on and is, I'm aiding the resistance, and the other one wants to put her head in the sand a little bit, but they both end up getting entwined in, helping. And just the stories, oh my God. I think there were about 3 of us in work reading this around the same time.
Oh wow. And just coincidentally,
and we were all like, where are you at? Oh my God. I spent so much of last night crying, and I finished this book in the car park of work before an English class, and I was traumatized. I remember like closing the book and being like, how am I going to go in and teach my third years? Like, I am not in an emotionally fit state to engage with any human being right now, but it is so good. Love it. Yeah.
It's one I feel like I should read. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It deserves to be read.
Okay. One that I can see on the shelf there, if you don't mind passing me, Demon Copperhead there, please. Oh, yes. Even though, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel very... There is, so obviously this is like the Ireland and UK cover of this book. There are other covers of this book, like the American cover is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And I just feel like, I don't think this cover does this book justice.
I haven't read the book.
It is a little boy. It is about a boy who has red hair, and that is like part of, what he has to deal with growing up. But like, I feel that this really does not do the book justice, but this is, for anyone who hasn't read it, and I won't go on too much because I'm sure this has been mentioned on the podcast at some stage. It's based on David Copperfield. It's about a young boy growing up, essentially raising himself. Now, it's set in modern times in America, and it is a young boy dealing with the effects of growing up in a household where his mother is on drugs, and kind of the effect that has on him growing up in poverty then, and kind of socio-economic circumstances and trying to rise above it all. But it's heartbreaking. Like, anything where there is a young person facing like adversity, especially things that they cannot control.
Yes.
He could not control being born into this life, being born into this society. Heartbreaking. A fantastic book. Very similar to, what is the name of it? Young Mungo, the guy who wrote that, the book before it. Shuggie Bain. Yeah. That absolutely broke my heart. I regularly think about that book. Shuggie Bain also broke my heart. Very similar books, very similar vibes, as in very similar stories in that way. Another one actually I read around the same time as Shuggie Bain was Boys Don't Cry by Fiona Scarlett, which was one that came up into the question box on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And that's another heartbreaker of a book set in Dublin. I think the problem was, though, I read Shuggie Bain and Boys Don't Cry one after the other, and I read Shuggie Bain first. So Boys Don't Cry did not have the same impact on me. It was still a heartbreaker of a book, but I think I would have been much more affected by that book if I had read it 6 months later, a year later, because I'd come out of such a traumatic book that it felt like the traumatic second book didn't traumatise me as much as it should have, if you get me.
You had been like desensitised.
I was desensitised, exactly. So that was one that I just, when I saw it on the shelf there, that was another excellent one.
I've got Goodnight Mr. Tom in my hands, which is, I did it for my junior cert.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time
Really?
ago. Yeah, I did.
I read that in primary school. I don't think it was ever, I didn't realise it was ever in like secondary school.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was my novel for my junior cert, and I loved it. This, or maybe I did it in first year, and then Roll of Thunder Hear My Cry was another one that I did, which was junior cert. Yeah. Goodnight Mr. Tom is another book set around war. Like, obviously, you know, war is a very traumatic time for anybody, but it's about a little boy who was evacuated to the countryside and lived with Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom had no choice but to take him in. And the little boy is very quiet. He doesn't really, you know, engage very much. And just the way that Tom and the little boy, Willie is his name, how they end up learning about each other and each other's backgrounds and stuff. It just, yeah. I remember there's one particular scene in this book that has never left me. And
I'm sure I should know what it is, but it's so long since I've read it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, though, if I reread that, it would be one of those ones where as it was coming to it, I'd be like, oh no, something is now ringing a bell.
Yeah, it is. It's a brilliant book. I think every young person should read this. I think every adult should read it. I think it's just a fantastic read. It's so good. So that is another book that came up. This one, Mornings in Janine.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and this was a Tired Mommy book club book at one point, and it is about Palestine. And it's a devastating novel of love and glass, war and oppression, heartbreak and hope, spanning 5 countries, 4 generations, and one of the most intractable conflicts of our lifetime. And I just remember being on the book club chat for this and having to turn off my camera and my mic. I was sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And I think, obviously, given the state of the world at present, it just is so hard not only to watch it unfold on our screens, but to see, like, to read it and to get into a character's existence and just see what an experience it is just.
And when was that book actually released? Because that book is out quite a while. Yeah,
this book
like that, I suppose the point I make is that book came out well before Palestine as it currently stands kind of became I suppose what it is for most of us now. Do you know what I mean? I think we were always aware there was a conflict, like, you know, I was always aware of certain places like Gaza, the West Bank, but until recently I did not, you know, in my oblivion, I did not realise the full extent of it. So knowing, again, like, there's books like that have been out for so long, and we probably should have read a long time ago and haven't, that are so moving about it. it's great to have those kind of own voices, I suppose, is kind of what you'd say now. But
Absolutely.
That's another one that is supposed to be excellent. All right, I went to read it and I didn't end up getting to it. So
to be fair, given the amount of exposure that we were having at the time, which is obviously diminished since as a result of people being killed, it was very hard to read because you were seeing it and you were reading it, and it was intense. But like, it is a luxury to be able to say that it was intense, to feel it. You know, it was
from our nice comfy safe houses.
That's it. Yeah. Very, very hard hitting, but a really, really good read, I have to say. So that is another excellent one. Deadly Silence. Have you read Deadly Silence? I'm sure you were talking to me about this. Is it about a woman who children were murdered?
Yes, actually,
Would you mind talking about this one?
No problem. So there were two books in particular this summer that I felt. There were three books I cried at, but two in particular that were kind of more of note. This was one, and it was the non-fiction one. So this was written by Jacqueline Connolly, and it is the story of her sister, Clodagh, along with Clodag's three sons, Liam, Niall and Ryan, who were killed by her husband and their father, Alan Haw. I remember this story at the time, and it was this big tragedy about this poor man who snapped and, you know, obviously had mental health issues, and, you know, the local primary school teacher, and he was beloved in the area. And I say poor man in inverted commas, who snapped and killed his wife, you know, in a moment of madness, essentially, and their three sons. And it took quite a while, and that this is what the story is about. It took quite a while for it to come out that actually this was a very premeditated act. This wasn't someone who, in a moment of rage, snapped and, you know, lost complete control and had tragic circumstances because of it. This was someone that apparently was planning it for potentially weeks in advance, if not longer, and who, for the whole relationship with, you know, her sister, this Jacqueline Connolly's sister, was manipulative. He was controlling. In fact, actually, at the back of the book, I presume it's in this as well, because I listened to it, and she narrates it. Actually, no, I don't know, does she narrate it? I might take that bit out. But in it, it actually gives you a definition of what coercive control is, the red flags for it, you know, what to look for in a relationship, if you are the person yourself in that situation, but also as someone who maybe you might have a relation or a friend in that kind of situation, like what are the red flags to look out for. But it's actually horrendous how much this lady and her family, her mom especially, had to fight to get the reality of the situation found out. Basically because Alan Haw had died by suicide after it had happened. It seemed that the Gardaí were basically like, look, unfortunately, he's after dying as well. In a way, it kind of felt like she was saying what was the point in actually figuring out if there was more to the situation than just a man who, you know, snapped in that moment. And it took her an awfully long time to get them to really, really investigate it properly. As in, it was very, very, very recently the reality of the situation was found out. She has suffered unimaginable tragedy in her life, more so than just this. So actually just reading what one person has been through and the fight that she kept up even despite all that to find out the truth was unbelievable. So the second book then, which I suppose when we were coming up with the topic, I was like trying to think, I was like, what have we done now, or what has happened with us books-wise since we last met? And the one thing that came to me was that, like, and it's my favourite book of the year so far, was Frederick Backman's My Friends, that novel. Now, I love his writing anyway. A Man Called Ove is one of my favourite books ever. And I was just thinking about the emotional impact that book had on me, and how I bawled reading certain parts of it. I bawled in happiness, I bawled in sadness, and just how much of an emotional impact it had. So it is the story of, and as all of his stories, if you've never read anything by him, it can seem a bit, there's a quirkiness to them that it might take you a little bit of time to grab on, like, what's actually going on here? Like, there's certain ways, conversations that people have that are very it's a very dry wit, and a quirkiness is the best way I can put it. But essentially what the story is it's all revolved around this painting, which is supposedly a painting of the sea. And it starts out with this, it's an auction where this painting is going to be sold. And there is a girl who has like masqueraded as someone working at the event that the auction is at. It seems like she's going to steal the painting. And we're like, why is this young girl so interested in this painting? And it transpires anyway that it's a painting that just means a huge amount to her personally. She's 17 or 18. I think it's 18 because she's just out of the foster care system. So this painting means a huge amount to her. But then we also get the story. So why the painting means so much to her is kind of one aspect of the story. The second aspect is about the artists themselves. We go back a few decades to the person who actually painted this painting of the sea, and what it meant to the artist painting it, how it came about. And the whole thing revolves around friendship and how friends influence people, it influences art, it can influence your growing up, how it impacts people so much, and then their two worlds basically collide. So the girl, the artist, via this painting, their two worlds collide, and then the rest, like the second half of the story, is kind of where that story takes us. I can't say any more without giving much of it away, but I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed at that book. It was just so gorgeous. Like in good ways, I was very sad in parts, but an awful lot of it was just like, oh, this is so beautiful. And I really felt like a better person after reading it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love those kind of books.
Yeah. And like not even so much that I learned something, but I find with his writing, what it does is he'll explain or he'll describe something in a way that you go, like I never thought of it that way, but now that he's described it that way, that is so perfect. And how come I never thought of it that way before? Do you know, it's just glorious the way he writes. Yeah. So that was the second book that I felt. I don't have a physical copy of it, unfortunately, but it's one I will be picking up, I think.
Yeah, I got it. It was on Kindle Deals, I think, there recently, so I got it on that. Yeah, so like, I think books are a great way to help us feel and to explore human emotion. Yeah. I think they're a great exploration of empathy. I think you can't help but be more empathetic as a result of being a reader. Yeah. And I think that in turn, for me, makes us kind of better citizens of the world, which I think is...
And when I was looking up stuff for this before we came here today, there are various studies that say young kids getting to read fiction or having fiction read to them, it helps them learn empathy. Absolutely. How other people are feeling, and then as we grow up and are reading it ourselves, it's like one study actually made the comparison between us sitting in a room with someone like we are here and us taking in all the cues about how, like, someone's body language, their tone, versus maybe what they're saying. So essentially reading between the lines. So if you were sitting here telling me you're fine, but I can tell you actually, you might look quite upset, and I'm using my intuition then to go, okay, I actually need to comfort Claire even though her words are telling me something. That's essentially what books do as well. We're having to read a certain amount between the lines and use our intuition and our knowledge and our empathy to go, okay, this is actually what those characters are feeling and this is what's going on there. And that's apparently why we get so invested in certain stories. Okay. That when we get drawn in like that, because we are putting so much of ourselves into understanding the character and their motivations and why they're doing things, that's why we get invested in stories, and therefore we can't help but create then that emotional connection with the characters, apparently.
Interesting to note as well, I'm reading a book at the moment called The Happiness Advantage, and it talks about our innate need for social connection. And even just as you're talking about being in the same room as somebody, like, it's a completely different experience for me being here recording with you as it is to what we used to do before. And then if you think about, like, the kids that have grown up with COVID and everything being on Zoom and just not being as okay with face-to-face interaction, even just the amount of screen time the kids are consuming, and to adults, like, we are less how would you say, we are less likely to do something face to face if it can be done with an app, or if you can go to a self-service checkout or whatever. And just the human interaction that we miss out on, which then actually decreases our levels of joy, it makes such a big difference to us. So
I hadn't thought about that actually, how much more not in person. And actually it's funny, we're obviously bucking the trend here now by deliberately choosing to be in person, because we felt it would be nicer to be sitting across from each other when we had spent 3 seasons just doing it all online, like on screen.
But the man that invented the ATM came up with the ATM because he thought it would be quicker and more efficient, and his wife has never used an ATM because she prefers the human interaction of going to a bank teller and asking for money. Which is interesting, isn't it?
I love how she's like, you invented something amazing and I'm going to not use it to spite you now.
We're making loads of money off it, but it's not coming out of that.
It's such a wife thing to do.
So before we finish, I have put together a would you rather little section.
Oh, excellent. Great.
So it's going to be lucky dip. You can pull it out and you can pose the question. They range from being okay to being like pretty cruel.
Oh,
right?
God.
So here we go.
Oh my God.
Of the bag.
I always think it's gas to ask people these questions, but okay, so I'm asking you first.
Yeah, or it's for both of us, I suppose.
Okay, so would you rather every book you own has a hideous cover, or every book you buy must be hardcover when you hate hardcovers?
A hideous cover.
Oh no, like I'm so personally victimised by this hideous cover. No, I'd have to take hardcovers. At least they'd all be hardcovers then. They'd kind of match. No, couldn't have the hideous covers. Like even that's... What is that colour like? No. Right.
You're holding an orange cushion.
Well, that's fine. That's just...
I know. Okay.
I don't know what that is.
I'll take this one, so... Oh, that's a crap one. That's an awful one. Okay, right. Even if this is awful, we're still going for it. Would you rather always know the big twist halfway through the book, or never remember the ending after finishing it, no matter how good it was?
I never remember what happens in books anyways. As soon as you said the first thing, I was like, no, I don't want to know the twist. No matter what the second part was, I was going for it, but then I was just like laughing, going...
I love being able to figure it out. I feel like a right Sherlock Holmes when I'm able to figure things out.
Halfway through though, no. Yeah.
Some of these are awful. Sorry now. There's definitely a couple of really good ones here.
Go on.
Oh God, okay. Would you rather always get spoiled for the ending before you even start a book, or never be able to talk about what you've read with anyone ever?
I'd rather the second one.
Never be able to talk about a book? Any book?
I don't know, is there much point in having every book I ever read again spoiled? I could write about a book. I could like blog about it or something. Like talking about it, no. I could record a podcast on my own and just have people listen to it.
Oh, good luck to you.
No, like I know there's a certain amount of like I read romance. I know it's going to be a happily ever after, but at the same time I don't want to know every detail of everything that happens, you know?
Yeah. Okay, last one, because I'm having too much fun with this. Would you rather every book you own weighs 10 kilos? Or every ebook you download is missing half the pages?
10 kilos, please. Yeah. I'd be so muscly after reading them.
Your brain and your body. Your brain and your body. It's a new ad for reading. Read my book.
Oh my God. There's your book written for you now. It doesn't even have to have anything. It's just a load of waffle for 10 kgs. All this subliminal messaging or something in it for... So this is only about, I'd say, 200 or 300 grams, I'd say.
Yeah?
I would guess. That's my years working in a deli now and weighing meat. So like...
Oh, my youngest child weighs 13 kgs at the moment.
So 10 kgs. A kg is a little under 2.5 pounds.
I could not.
10 kgs is 25 pounds, like.
Nah.
23 pounds, maybe. Jeez, that's actually that one.
Yeah, can you imagine just reading
hefty
my
book.
child? Like, having to hold him up to be able to read him, or read a book, like...
I did pick up a book the other day, actually, randomly, in a second-hand place, and it's Jonathan Strange, and is it Mr. Norrell? Susanna, what's her name? The one that wrote Piranesi.
Oh, yeah.
It was her book before it. It's probably the size of these two books together, like. It is gigantic.
Some massive books.
Gigantic. I think it's just going to be a trophy on my shelf, to be honest, even though it's supposed to be good, but that would be a big book to be reading.
Love Songs is a massive book.
Oh, yeah, that was huge, actually.
It was well worth a read.
Lord of the Rings is quite a chunk.
Yeah, but that's
Quite a chunky. That's just the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they were fun now.
Yeah, good. I'm glad I brought some joy to your day. There we go.
We'll keep the rest for the next day. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in.
Yes.
We hope you've enjoyed this nice little ease back into the season. And we really hope you tune in for our interview in a couple of weeks with a fantastic guest who, in fairness, has spoken to us a couple of times now.
Yes,
Twice due to technical difficulties. And we've been waiting to release this for a while, but we can't wait.
Yeah. You know her.
You know her.
To see.
Yeah. Very active on social media as well. Great woman for outfits of the day.
Yes. And she'll be joining us in another type of TV show soon.
Yes.
Which I'm looking forward to. So.
Yeah, a celebrity version of something.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough clues now.
Absolutely. Okay, let's sign off.
Sinead, thanks very much. Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Another Chapter podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share to keep the book conversation going. Thank you to Helen Becerra for the graphics, Mark Neville for the mixing, and to each of our contributors. Music is Make It Work by All Good Folks.
Don't forget to follow along on Instagram at Another Chapter Podcast. We'll see you there.